know, buddy? What do I know, buddy?
Cold out, eh?
Yes, sir.
How about some cocoa?
I'd be down for some cocoa. Cheers. Cascade Gold. Cascade Gold. Lake Cascade in the mountains of Idaho is the destination for jumbo perch. Or maybe it was a couple of seasons ago. That depends on who you talk to. In fact, the only consensus is world and state record perch are new to Cascade, and so am I. In fact, I'm not the greatest perch fisherman around, so to explore this fishery, I brought my buddy Fritz from the UP of Michigan, who is no stranger to the ice.
Hey, how are you?
Or ice fishing, but he's never fished the hard water outside of the Mitten State. No. We are here to see just how this fishery works and maybe pull a few jumbos out of the ice for ourselves.
6-inch slow rise, fall, hit the bottom.
Okay, what's your goal for today, Fritz?
Catching footballs.
Catching footballs.
Just to catch a perch. A lot bigger here than where I'm from, so as long as we catch a fish, I'll be good.
Well, the first one's hard. Unless it's too easy, and then that's a bad sign too.
Slower lift, you think? Probably just change up my cadence a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about it like attracting at first, like thump, 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 try to make some commotion. Yeah. Ice fishing can take some flack for being a little sedentary, but it is the middle of winter and not fishing is not fun either. Learning each fishery year-round adds another element and opportunity to hone one's fishing technique. And this is the only time of year I target perch. Slow start to a fish fry, Fritz. Yeah, that fog lifts and there's people all over. I can't believe a perch isn't gonna eat a maggot. There he is. Look at that snort. Some said it couldn't be done. I mean, I would keep this perch anywhere else. So, I think it's gonna go in the barrel scaler. That was on the worm. Can't let these local guys get in your head, you know. Same thing everywhere you go. You know, they're not gonna tell you what they're using. They're like, oh yeah.
I know, I saw him bait and put in real quick.
Uh-oh.
Let's go. Come here, buddy.
Not out of the hole yet. It's pull and drag. Hey!
How are you, buddy?
It
Little
does
Twinkie.
exist.
With some Cascade Gold. Yeah,
You went pretty big there too.
we're gonna put this one.
It's a big jig.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sniff those snort. Well, it's not necessarily a left guard from Nebraska, but it'll do.
Probably about 9 inches. I'll see you later, buddy. Bye.
I think we're doing this wrong, Fritz.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's get mobile. We're seeing very little country here. I got some friends down the lake that know what they're doing. They at least got the beta. Oh boy. Those are a little bit bigger than what we've been getting into. You guys been finding just 2 fish?
Just 2 big ones. Yeah, there's a lot of fish around.
So just drill holes right next to you?
Yeah, yeah, come on in.
Jordan, Mike, that's Snort.
Hey, Snort.
This is Fritz.
How are you guys?
What's going on, Fritz? Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
Fritz is a flatlander who also is into the perch fishing scene, but they're a little bit bigger out here.
A little bit.
What's your biggest perch to date?
12 inches.
12 inches.
Yeah, ever.
Nice.
Not so big one where I'm from.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get into some of those and possibly even...
Hey, she'll descale that thing, I found out. What's the trick?
Well, we're kind of sitting on the edge of the river channel here on kind of a bench, and just seems like the fish are cruising this bench in here.
Okay.
So we're fishing like a Haley jig about 2 feet off the bottom, just jigging it, tipped with a little bit of worm. And whenever you bring the fish up, they seem to be eating lots of chironomids. They're spitting out tons of chironomids.
Okay. Awesome. Feel like there's fish here.
So what I'll do is let's tip this with an earthworm. Right on here, probably an inch. Bring them into the potluck. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, buddy. Dude, you're just not gonna believe this thing. Oh, and it's got a tag! It's got a tag! Unreal! Unreal! Look at that fish! Look at that!
That's a fish right there.
Unbelievable!
That is a pig.
Oh, that is so cool. This is citizen science. You know, I can't explain how cool it is. Okay, what do you think of that one?
Woo! Dang, that's a toad.
You see this?
That's what we were after. Yeah, that thing looks pretty dirty too. I bet that tag's been in there for a while.
Pretty dirty.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, last year.
Yeah. There's numbers on it. We can scrape some of that muck off, and
Are you smiling? Are you excited?
that's pretty awesome.
I feel like I'm participating in fisheries
That's what I was
management
hoping
here.
you guys would get into out here. That is awesome. Yeah. Fritz, you ever seen a fish that perch that big?
Not a perch. It's a largemouth bass like that.
For me, this is like a fantastic perch, right?
Yeah.
This I'm still plenty happy with. Like I'm taking him home.
Yeah.
Obviously. But then these are like totally different animals, right? Like these are like bass-sized perch.
Anomalies, yeah.
It's interesting, right? Because like the argument is this fish is so close to dying of natural causes that, and there's a lot of other fish out there, that it's not going to hurt the fishery to take this fish out of the water, take it home and eat it, right? But at the same time, this is the fish that can produce the most eggs, and it's been doing it for the longest time. So like, what's the answer there? Like why isn't there that restriction on, like a slot limit type of restriction for anglers?
So right now, again, with all that, the tagging studies and the harvest studies that we've done, it's typically less than 10% of perch that are harvestable size, so bigger than this, are being caught by anglers each year. And when we do that age and growth study, you kind of have all the older fish and the younger fish and their abundance. When we do that age and growth study, we see that 25% or so are dying every year. And so less than 0.5% of all mortality in the lake can be attributed to harvest. And typically length limits and things work best when you can identify that a majority of the harvest, of the mortality is through harvest. And we just don't see that in Cascade. We see that these cycles of recruitment are driving what fish are available to anglers.
What's the data say? Like, why is Cascade so successful right now? I mean, obviously it hasn't been like this forever. It's not like...
Yeah, and Cascade, kind of the secret to a big perch fishery is inconsistent recruitment, and that's what makes Cascade grow these big fish, is these pulses of good recruitment and bad recruitment. So back all throughout the history of Cascade in the 90s, we've had almost no recruitment, so no new perch entering the population, and it got so bad that no one was catching any perch, and that's when in the early 2000s we did some work suppressing pike minnow, but also transplanting a ton of perch into this lake. And it kind of tipped the scales back to favor perch. And for the last 20 years, we've been favoring perch, but even still, we have years that we produce a lot of perch in this lake. And then the following year, we might not produce any perch that survived that year too. And that's a good thing for growing jumbos, but it makes it hard to predict.
Right, because you can like see down the road, right, and be like, okay, 7 years from now, we're missing an entire age class of fish.
Yeah, potentially.
But the benefit, right, is also that you're missing an entire age class of fish.
So there's more food to go around, potentially, for the fish that are in the lake. But now the lake is tipped to favor perch again. We have a lot more smallmouth bass, and we're not seeing in our surveys in the last few years that pike minnow are really taking off. And so now it's kind of just perches cycling on themselves, these big perch eating smaller perch being eaten by rainbow trout and bass, and all kinds of factors can contribute to if these guys make it to this size.
Speaking of catching.
Nice.
Oh,
Beauty.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, I got a bunch more questions for you, but I got to keep fishing here.
I agree.
Inconsistent recruitment. Not good for adding new fish, great for big fish. Fritz has a date with his biggest perch. He just has to find it.
And then, if you got no action, get off the dance floor. Actually, go back on the dance floor, yeah? Right on that bottom. Mix things up a bit. And we'll take off. Playing hard to get.
Onward we went to intercept the perch bite, adjusting our rigs and moving consistently. Hello. Probably got time to make one more move.
I think we should, yeah. As soon as the bite slows down in one spot, keep moving.
Let's go do some more hole hopping.
Let's go see if we can find another one of those big mamas.
Oh, it's just, I feel like it's just too much to ask for. Yeah. It's like they're the ones that are just like a little lighter colored. This is that right before dark perch bite that you always hope happens but never does for me. What do you think, little girl? Dinner? Okay, load up. Good girl.
Same hole? Yeah. Let's go.
But these like buck shots, I've heard, are real consistent too. This may not apply to everybody, but if you're an angler, having a fisheries biologist like Jordan around is like Joe Cermelli and Jay Siemens had a baby. It's just special.
Back in like the 60s and 70s, they identified a whole bunch of issues with like septic systems in the valley.
Poop. Human
Yeah.
poop is behind a lot of water quality issues.
Yeah. There were a lot of improvements that took place at that time. Folks that got together and worked on septic regulations, and actually the McCall septic plant was identified as a pretty major point source of phosphorus input.
Well, I feel like from the public though, like, there's a general consensus, right? Like perch fisheries crash. Like that's what they do. They're gonna be good for a little while, and then they're gonna be bad for a long time. And bad's not like there's no fish, just like, oh, they're all super tiny now.
Yeah, it depends what your measure of success is for Cascade. But I think the most recent heyday people like to refer to was probably 2015, 2016, when we just had really high perch abundance, and a large portion of those fish were, you know, big 12, 13 plus inch fish.
And when you say you're not seeing it, is it through anglers? Like, are you just talking to guys on the ice, or in their boats, or what are you doing?
Well,
like, no, 30,000 acres. That's a lot of places a fish can hide.
yeah, primarily the way we monitor it is through standardized gill netting surveys that we've been doing for about 10 years now. So, you know, doing
Does that
them,
make you a lot of friends out here, gill netting fish people could be catching?
it's only about a week of surveys, but it gives us a really good snapshot of how the fishery's looking. And then, you know, using the exact same methods, same gear, same sites year after year gives you some good comparison from year to year. So the back calculated pop estimate would be about 400,000 fish.
Got it. Oh, you threw that back?
Yeah. I'll keep them for you next time.
Oh, I mean, that's a nice perch.
Yeah.
Nobody throws a perch back like that.
I could live well that and be a big deal back home.
You're feeling like you can't like prevent that perch crash, that classic perch crash.
We're not sure. I mean, it's always a recruitment issue. Recruitment is the, you know, number one thing to keep in mind for sustainability of a fishery. If we don't have juveniles surviving and coming into the fishery, then we're not going to have the next generation of jumbos when this generation dies off of old age. So we monitor recruitment and we monitor the adult population. And when we see recruitment on the low side, you know, we're trying to look at what factors might be contributing to that reduced recruitment. 15.5, just about.
That's a big perch.
There aren't too many places perch grow to that size.
Right now, anglers can legally harvest with no size restriction or limit, which sounds crazy. 2 pounds, Fritz.
You put your weight belts on, carry that one home.
15.5. But the proof is in the perch. Cascade has the world record for oldest known perch, an astonishing 16 years old, and multiple state records, including a 3.2 pounder. Well, I'm gonna start packing up. Really appreciate everything. Tons of knowledge on the fishery, which is super fun because I get to pack that home with me.
Yeah, well, thanks for helping us get the message out, and we're glad you guys made it out here. Super awesome to fish with you and Fritz for a day.
Oh, I appreciate it. Fritz is real focused over there. This mountain lake in Idaho treated us better than we deserved, and it was only able to because of real, hands-on, sometimes stinky, literal world-class fisheries management. And not every trip will be like this, and we know why. Perch populations peak and crash, but I think regardless of that natural cycle, in this lake anyway, there will always be a chance at a monster. So remember to fill out your angling surveys. They matter. Oh, he scored! All right, have you seen one of these before? No. Really?
No.
You're in like panfish country. I thought everybody had one of these.
We do it by hand.
Okay, barrel scaler. Very simple concept. You have the barrel, smooth on the outside. If you reach inside, you can feel it's like the zester part of a cheese grater.
Okay.
It's exactly what it feels like. And we're gonna put our fish in here, and then we're gonna put it in the drum, and it's got some water in there, so it'll catch all the scales as they come off and they don't go flying everywhere. And it's a pretty clean, simple process.
Perfect.
Cool. Well, let's start loading her up. Lake Cascade Gold. This would be like Montana Perch. And we're in the scaling business.
I guess. Let's go.
Maybe time for a cold pop.
Always time for a cold pop.
All right. That's the real Lake Cascade Gold.
Yeah, I agree.
I think so. Everyone knows these perch fillets are going to taste great, and they did. What a lot of people don't try, though, is the roe.
Good.
Perch eggs have a very custard-like quality. I found one time ice fishing that perch roe, which is a significant portion of the fish, when fried, has like a custard type consistency. So these are immature eggs. So I'm going to batter them, fry them, and coat them in a mixture of cinnamon and sugar and eat them like a donut. I was really searching, trying to find like pretty similar roe sacks size-wise. Okay, you ready?
Yep. Let's go.
Nailed it. Be real gentle. Yeah.
Couple toe drags. Let's go.
How you feeling about this?
I'm strapped up.
Yeah?
Let's go.
All right, pick your donut.
I don't know why. This one
sure.
spoke to me.
Sure, I'm gonna go with this little piggy on the end.
Little cheers.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
It literally tastes like a donut, but with like a better texture.
Yeah, it's also like distinctly egg in there, isn't it?
Unreal.
Wow. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little scared for this one, but real good.
I went in no looking back. Good stuff.